Hello and welcome to week 9 of this 52-week movie review challenge. This week I watched Love Actually, and now I can see what Valentine's Day was supposed to do but didn't. Love Actually is a 2003 romantic comedy basically centering around 8 different couples as they go through a very stressful month leading up to Christmas. It's got a very big name cast of big British names like Liam Neeson, Keira Knightley, Bill Nighy, Hugh Grant, Colin Firth, Martin Freeman, Rowan Atkinson. There's so many, I know I'm going to forget some, so I'm not even going to try and say them all, but just look it up on IMDb. I mean, come on, like that's kind of what I use. And also, it's got Billy Bob Thornton as the United States President, which is an interesting choice, but it seems to work within the frame of the film. And yeah, it basically just follows various couples as they go on with their lives and sort of intertwine and have various connecting storylines. It managed to set everything up very promptly. Like you had a quick flash of each of the couples just so you knew exactly where you're going with them, and then started intertwining them and doing the relationships between them and all that sort of thing. There are a lot of storylines going on, so I'm just going to sort of focus. Like my favourite ones were Bill Nighy is the aging rock star trying to make a bit more money with the Christmas versions of songs, which he absolutely despises, and he plays that aging rock just so well. Like it's Bill Nighy, like he knows his stuff. There's Martin Freeman as the adult film star trying to nervously ask his co-star in the adult film on a date, which is just hilarious because it's Martin Freeman playing a guy in an adult film. It's one of those things that just sort of doesn't mesh, but because it doesn't mesh, it is a scream. It is hilarious. And of course, it wouldn't be a British rom-com without Hugh Grant. Now granted, I haven't seen any of his other films, to be honest. I didn't actually think to add any of them into Romance Film Month, but Hugh Grant as the Prime Minister just sort of works, I guess. I mean, it's great watching the most powerful man in the UK being completely stammering and stumbling in infatuation for one of his assistants, and it feels really real. I really connected with him because that's me in a dating situation. Obviously not being the most powerful man here in Australia or anything like that, but it's just his methods of dating just feel very, very familiar and awkward, but familiar. So it sort of, I guess that spoke to me a bit more. The only storyline I didn't like was the one with the backpacker. I think his name was Colin. I can't remember the actor's name. It felt a bit too unrealistic. Like, I know we've just talked about an adult film star having an awkward time trying to ask out his co-star, but it just, the backpacker one where he travels to Wisconsin, it just felt really, really out of place. Like with the whole setup for him, I thought he was going to get conned. I thought he was going to get robbed and mugged and just left on the streets. I know I'm a pessimist, whatever. It didn't really work for me, that particular scene. But everything else about the film is just great. Like, the stories intertwine a little bit, but not too much. But they get brought together in the end in a... Look, it's slightly stilted. Only slightly, though. But they do get brought together in a really good way at the end. Yeah, I did quite like that. It wasn't overbearingly like, oh look, they're all connected. But it was just enough. Overall, I'm giving it 6 out of 7. I mean, it did lose marks for that really unrealistic backpacker story, but I'm going to be honest, it's one of the best films I've seen for this challenge so far. And I don't normally like rom-coms, so I guess I just need to look for British ones. Thank you for watching this week's movie review. Next week will be March, and no longer will we be in Romance Month. I shouldn't be that excited by that. I've actually seen some decent films due to it. So, next week, we'll be watching something as far removed from a romance as possible, and we will be watching Alien. If you've got any questions, comments, other opinions about the film, leave them in the comments down below. But until next time, tally-ho.